Potent Pondering back with another video. Come in, thumbs up this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, hit all notifications so you have my videos in your possession each and every time I go live or I do uploads. Shout out to all of my new subscribers. Also, please make sure that you support the channel. The Cash App link is in the description of the video. I hope y'all all doing well. I was gonna do a video yesterday. I was so tired. I had to get my sleep back. So listen, first thing I want to address is this ongoing situation with the Cardi B offset mother situation, right? Now, one of my subscribers, they left in my comments, they were just saying like, they were kind of questioning. I pinned the comment in my last video. She was talking about how Cardi B was referring to like she wasn't raised by dogs, right? So the thing about me is when I was listening to that audio, and I don't know, when I listened to that audio, I got that from Hollywood Unlocked, and I felt like Jason Lee, he probably intentionally edited that audio. I feel like he did because it was like you couldn't really hear what she was saying. It was like, and I felt like she was saying like a dog, but I didn't want to look stupid and say it in the video. But listen, this is all I will say. You already know what I unleashed in the last video when I was saying that Cardi B and her sister, I feel like they are racist. Cardi B, let me tell you something. Being from New York, let me tell you something. She could suck all the black phallus that she want to, be around them, even have babies by them. But I know girls that's just like them. When they get around the other girls that are, the other girls of their community, they'll talk down on black girls, talk about black girls' hair or whatever. Even if Cardi B want to say she got kinky hair, whatever the case may be, whatever, right? She's not Afro-Latina to me. I don't care what she called herself or what she self-proclaimed. And I felt like throughout the years, we seen her give it up in regards to like targeting that black woman and her son who passed away, calling him a monkey, calling people roaches and all of that. So you saying you wasn't raised by a dog? Like you wasn't raised like a dog or whatever the case may be? Let me tell you something, right? I know so many black people who were raised, for example, my cousin who lived upstairs from me in a two-family home. They had a mother and father present with them. Like I know several black people who had a mother and a father. And just because you had a mother and father who lived with you does not mean that they were happily married. Does not mean that your father or your mother wasn't tiptoeing around the situation, or it doesn't mean that your mother wasn't getting beat or whatever, right? So to me, it's like Cardi, I don't know why she's trying to dangle that over people's head. Like, I don't know, like she feels as though like, she's better than people because she came up from a two-parent family. Let me tell you something. I don't see so many people who had two parents and they still come out failures. They still don't thrive. And I've seen so many people with the fire under them who come from single parent home. You know what I'm saying? So listen, yes, I do believe the undertones of Cardi B talking about comparing people to dogs. Come on. Come on. You already know what it is. I remember when I was younger and I get so mad at myself in it now, and it's not the first time I said it. Just being around so many Latina women who would make negative comments about black women like, oh, them black bitches, they wear their hair like that, or them black bitches, this, that, whatever the case may be. And I never forget that my friend who was from Long Island, we had this one friend who was Dominican, and she said to me, she was like, I'm not her N-word, like, with the hard ER. And I didn't understand what she meant back then. She's like, I am not her N-word, like, yo, that's crazy. But yeah, I do believe that Cardi B is race. I do believe that she is. And yeah, just because you taking the black phallus up in the oil and the oil that's tight, allegedly, it doesn't mean that that you care for the race in general. You just getting what you could suck and siphon out of, and then you moving on. Anyway, let's move on. I want to talk about Azealia Banks. So Azealia Banks, like, I felt like she threw some, it wasn't even really shady. It was just her opinion in regards to Ice Spice as it relates to her new album coming out, Y2K. Now, I will say this, right? I personally feel as though with Ice Spice and this whole Y2K thing, you got to realize like certain people who were born, they feel as if you, pretty much what I'm trying to say is I'm an 80s baby raised in the 90s. A lot of people who was not even shout out to the 90s babies because I feel like we are close too. But a lot of the people who came in at the end of that, like almost 2000s, 90s, um, end of the 90s, 2000, it's like they want to be from our era so bad. They want to be around it. And it's like, it's not an era that you are of. I'm noticing that more by more. Like me being born in the 80s, I never wanted to be a part of my brother's era. Like, my older brother's era, that's your era. I was proud of it being in the moment because it was so dope from the 80s going into the 90s. I always say 80s, 90s, baby, we got it the best. We seen technology change. We seen all of that. But anyway, Azealia Banks came out and she said, somebody needs to tell Ice Spice absolutely nothing about this is aesthetically performance wise, production wise, Y2K at all. Talking about Ice Spice Y2K. And she had actually quoted a video of her and tagged Ice Spice on Instagram. This is like VIM, early Nicki Minaj pack weave shit. We need new hair, new color, new facial expressions. Ice, I love you down. You should put a halt button, drop Dave LaChapelle, and redo this. Big butts and BBL bodies are the antithesis of Y2K, meaning that it's the exact opposite, right? So yeah, Azealia Banks is right with that. Ice Spice whole aesthetic is not giving Y2K. And I don't know why she did that if she wasn't going to nail it with like the aesthetic completely. I want to say this though too. Don't blame it on Dave LaChapelle because he does amazing work. What I think is just that how you get approached by an artist, right? I mean, how you approach somebody, like say you approach a business that does marketing or whatever, and say that you are Nicki Minaj and then say you are Ice Spice. Nicki Minaj is going to get a different marketing budget because she has more money. Ice Spice, Dave LaChapelle, he's going to do something for her, and it might look a little cheesy or a little cheaper because the budget is definitely different. Come on, when you busting your gun and you coming to represent and do a project for a big name, is more money involved and there's more efforts involved, right? He did her, didn't she say he did her album cover for free? So anyway, Azealia Banks went on to post several album covers that represented Y2K that do look very Y2K-ish, like J-Lo. She posted something from a J-Lo video. She also posted Aaliyah from the We Need a Resolution. Baby Fat Sidekicks were 2002 on. Y2K is 1997 to 2001, the year I graduated from high school. This is Y2K, TLC fan mail. So she just gave her several examples of Y2K. And yeah, I don't feel as though that Ice Spice, I feel like she might be from that era, like she was born. But let me tell you something. I can't really tell you nothing about the 80s. I was born in the 80s and raised in the 90s. I could tell you about the 90s. I could tell you about the music and all of that too. So that's the era that I came through. So Ice Spice, yeah, I just felt like, maybe she's just calling that because it's near and dear to her heart. Where, let me just actually Google that right now. Ice Spice born, and see what they say. Because I don't know her direct year she was born. I don't know the direct year that she was born in. She was born in 2000. So she is a Y2K baby. She's 24 years old, but she knows nothing about that era. She was not raised. You understand what I'm saying? Yo, all my 80s babies and my early 2000s babies, not 80s babies and not early 2000s, all my 80s babies and the 90s babies, leave your comments below and let me know how you feel about if you notice a trend of people who were born after us trying to act like they were there. Like, I know you might have lived through it through your parents, but you had to be there to fully like grasp that and just like and live within it. So yeah, anyway, let's move right on. I want to talk about Nicki Minaj, but the first thing I want to bring up first is Nicki Minaj's sister, right? She went out and she did a interview with some, like, it looks like a newer podcast or whatever, and she was telling them how she doesn't want to be referred to Nicki Minaj's little sister. Now, I would tell you this personally. I don't like to I understand her completely because when I grew up the youngest, like from my mother, I grew up and it was like they always referred to me as so and so's little brother, right? And when I was younger, I liked it because it came with some protection or whatever. But as I got older, I didn't like that. And I think that's what Ming is struggling with too. So listen, I want you to check this audio out real quick give me a second. I wanted you to check this audio out of Ming. She's talking about Jason Lee playing with her.
Saw a recent clip of you addressing Jason Lee regarding the Ray J interview. What problem did you have with that interview?
When you're like addressing me, right? Address me by my name. Nicki Minaj's little sister, that's like I'm a human being. Right. I don't
That's a
have a
fact.
name. And if you're gonna address me by that, add the Ming Luan Lee at the end. The other issue was that he kept on basically pressuring to make it seem like me and Safari have a type of connection trying to go against my sister. I don't have nothing against Safari. I will say that because at the end of the day, that was with me when I was a baby. He helped me when I was a baby. I can't go against a person that knew me when I was a child. Feel me? I don't know what he's got going on now.
What Jason Lee is doing is being vindictive. He's using her sister. He's targeting Ming. He's referring to her as Nicki Minaj's little sister, and he's not going to give her credit. And it's like, he's doing a 2-for-1. You know that Jason Lee just had Cardi B over at his award show, giving her that bullshit award. Like, stop it. Cardi B ain't have no hits this year at all. She just came out with a new record on the Spanish album, and they ain't do nothing either. And she's with Peso, whatever his name is, and that ain't do nothing either. So listen, next thing I want to talk about is I feel as though Nicki, like, listen, I'm a fan of Nicki Minaj. And when I say this, people, like, I just want to be direct. But I feel like certain fans of Nicki Minaj, they set her up, right? So listen, last night, Nicki came out and she said this. She posted this tweet, and I'm just going to be very clear on how I feel about this. She posted a tweet and she said, "Hi, so let's get into this right now. I'm that bitch. That's number one. Number two, revisit number one. If it means you got to revisit that shit 500 times a day, do it before you ever think about playing with my playing upon my bumbaras clot head top, right?" So the only two blogs that I seen that posted this was the Shade Room and the Neighborhood Talk, right? Now, I understand this and you have to realize this. Like, follow me through and understand this completely. The Neighborhood Talk and the Shade Room always post anything that Nicki posts. You know that likes are private now on Twitter. So they used to post her likes too. Like if they would post something, they would post things that she liked too, right? Likes are private now, so you can't do that. So what I believe that happened is that Nicki posted this, and I seen, like, for example, I'm gonna say this, and I don't care how you feel about it. Like I seen Celebs Love Nicki. He posted something just like showing how he was arguing with people in the comments. Let me tell you something. The Shade Room and the Neighborhood Talk both post Nicki anything related to her interactions. It's kind of like us bloggers who cover Nicki any topic or whatever the case may be. It's really no different. You're doing it. I'm sure they're getting paid for it. Just like you upload a video, you do content, you get paid for it, right? My whole thing about that is that I believe Nicki got wrapped into that because of the fans, right? This is not the first time, and I'm gonna be completely fair with you. Now, I do remember because when I was on my personal page, the Shade Room did post about Nicki's accomplishment with her tour, saying that, whatever record it broke. You know that there's so much news every day. You go through the Shade Room and look for the post. They did post something about her tour before. But my whole thing is the fans, this is what I call panic barbs. The fans will come online and start getting something going, making it seem like, oh, the Shade Room is posting about Nicki, post about a stat, post about this, post about that. So Nicki was online earlier and she's feeling a certain type of way because that's the energy that the fans is bringing. They post, you should know this. If you're a fan, look into this camera, they post all Nicki engagements. You know that, right? So I don't understand why y'all go online on Twitter and you try to, and it's like, this is why it's so important. And I actually made a tweet about this, but I want to read something that Nicki said after the fans got her mixed into it, because I know you know what I'm saying. The real fans know they post everything. They post everything, right? So Nicki said, no matter how much you pay for Onika to be put on blogs, when she's clearly joking with the barbs only and minding her business, just remember how all that paid media lied to y'all about my tour, and now it's in the top 10 of hip-hop tours of all time, and we still ain't halfway through. Now, I feel like sometimes things like that are counterproductive because the blogs post about everything you do. You Nicki Minaj, right? So, and this is what I said on my Twitter. I said, "Oh, y'all wasn't mad at them for posting Nicki. Y'all was mad at the comments. Follow me on this post. Y'all can't control people's comments, but it's actually draining arguing back and forth with people. They do this under every Nicki post. Every time Nicki posts something so positive about Nicki donated money to this, Nicki paid for college, it'll be one person that says something negative, right? They do this under every Nicki post. This is not new. Y'all are panic barbs and y'all send panic to Nicki. To me, this was wasted. It was wasted because I personally just feel like they always do this when it comes to Nicki. And then what did I say? And this is very true, and I noticed this. I said, I noticed at a very young age how people will attempt to throw panic in your life by the way that they even announce something that could be basic as hell. The messengers will definitely exacerbate situations and have you doing the most for the least. And that is a fact. That's a fact. So it was like I just felt like they had Nicki on 10 as far as her feelings with the blog, with the Shade Room posting her. They always post all her interactions and doings. The Neighborhood Talk too. Now, y'all wasn't talking about the Neighborhood Talk. Why? Because they don't garner, a similar amount of attention. You didn't feel as though that was worthy. But what it is that y'all wasn't mad that the Shade Room posted her. Y'all was mad at the people in the comments who was just saying like, off, just saying crazy things about Nicki. Listen, blogs are gonna post, YouTubers are gonna create, and I just feel like it's a part of life. But I just was a little confused this morning when I'm just like, this always happens. They always post. But what it was is that what happens when y'all don't realize is that when y'all get on the timeline and y'all start talking this shit and like posting it to Nicki, like, oh, tell them to post this and why they ain't posted something. I believe, and if I'm wrong, charge it to my mind and not my heart. But I do believe that the Shade Room did post that Nicki made history with her tour or whatever. I just think that y'all get butt hurt because y'all seen some posts weeks ago when they said that Megan Thee Stallion had the most people in attendance for her tour or some shit like that. Nicki said that she don't even watch the blogs. Now we know if Megan, we seen how the empty sections in Madison Square Garden. If Megan had the most people, we know that her ticket sales range from like $25 up to like $100, $200. Come on, you know that the comparison is not even, it's not comparable. You understand what I'm saying? So I just feel like it's a lot of panic barbs and they get Nicki going. And it's just like, you know, she be so quick to say like, you know, she want to block people for doing certain things. Block people who bring the panic. Let me tell you something. I'm about to end the video off on this. When I was younger, I don't know why, it's just a certain chill and a chill that I have with myself. When somebody would deliver negative news to me, I felt like they wanted to do it to see my reaction, and I would just remain laser focused on whatever it is, dealing with the matter going forward. And you don't realize sometimes that reaction actually will make a person do something more to you, or whether it's laughing at you or not having grace for you or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I just felt like the fans put her in the middle of that today for no reason. They always post, if Nicki could get up and say, I'm making baked tilapia and it's going to be all over the blogs. This is nothing new at all. So listen, Potent Pondering, please leave your comments below. Subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all of y'all. Let me know what you think in regards to the Cardi B situation with her calling, you know, saying she wasn't raised by dogs. Like, yeah, definitely racial undertones. I don't care what anyone says. And all the people who comment on my videos talking about, well, listen, I'm not even going to go into that because we at the end. Let me know what you think about Azealia Banks talking about Ice Spice too. She was a little gentle, but I do believe that Ice Spice aesthetic is definitely not Y2K. So listen, Potent Pondering, never pandering. Support the channel. Cash App is in the description in the video. I'm out of here. Peace.